بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد سيد الأولين والآخرين وحبيب رب العالمين. I ask Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala to make this a blessed gathering, to make it one of understanding, where these matters are comprehended and comprehended well, insha'Allah ta'ala, so that each one of us, we can be the carriers of this knowledge to our loved ones, so that we can protect ourselves and them from some of the traps, some of the pits of fire that the people of misguidance have dug and ignited. We're going to be going, insha'Allah, through a text compiled by one of the students of Shaykh Abdullah al-Harari, rahimahullah. This is the book authored by Shaykh Jamil Halim al-Husayni al-Shafi'i al-Ash'ari. May Allah Ta'ala protect and preserve him. He is a very special man and a very knowledgeable man. The name of the text is Al-Burhanul Mubayyan, the clarified proof, في ضوابط تكفير المعين, about the details of calling a specific person a kafir. This is the title of the text, Al-Burhanul Mubayyan fi ضوابط تكفير المعين. The clear proof, or the clarified proof of the boundaries of specific takfir, calling a specific person a kafir. And you will see, if you did not already know, the controversy that some comments or stances by some ignoramuses has led to. But first, let us begin by reciting something from the glorious book of Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala, the book that is protected by Allah, the book that will not be changed, the book that cannot be concocted and fabricated and added to or taken away from without the Muslims knowing it, realizing it, and clarifying it. Unlike At-Tawrah and Al-Injil. Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala revealed in the Quran in Surah Al-Imran, Ayah 106, يوم تبيض وجوه وتسود وجوه, on the day on which faces are blackened and faces are whitened. يوم تبيض وجوه, Allah revealed the day on which faces are literally whitened. وَتَسْوَدُّ وُجُوهٌ, and faces are blackened. Whitened because they have the light of piety and iman emanating from them. Even if a person had a dark complexion, on that day, there would be, with their dark complexion, they would have the nur of iman emanating from their faces. وَتَسْوَدُّ وُجُوهٌ, and that day, the day of judgment, on which faces, even if they were white in complexion, they would be dark. They would be dark with degradation and with the effects of disgrace and disobedience to Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. يَوْمَ تَبْيَضُّ وُجُوهٌ, That is the day upon which the faces will be whitened, وَتَسْوَدُّ وُجُوهٌ, and darkened. فَأَمَّا الَّذِينَ اسْوَدَّتْ وُجُوهُهُمْ أَكَفَرْتُمْ بَعْدَ إِيمَانِكُمْ. As for the faces that will be blackened, then it is said to them, you committed kufr after you had been believers. This tells you very clearly that some people may be believers and then they commit kufr, they blaspheme, they become non-Muslims. فَذُوقُوا الْعَذَابَ بِمَا كُنْتُمْ تَكْفُرُونَ. Taste the torture as a result of your blasphemy. Allah revealed in Surah At-Tawbah, in ayahs 65 and 66, وَلَئِن سَأَلْتَهُمْ لَيَقُولُنَّ إِنَّمَا كُنَّا نَخُوضُ وَنَلْعَبُ. If you ask them, O Muhammad alayhi salatu wassalam, if you ask them about the things that they were saying, they will say, oh, we were just playing around. It was jest. We were just messing around, joking. قُلْ أَبِاللَّهِ وَآيَاتِهِ وَرَسُولِهِ كُنْتُمْ تَسْتَهْزِئُونَ. Say, O Muhammad alayhi salatu wassalam, was it Allah and His verses and His messenger that you were belittling? لا تعتذروا قد كفرتم بعد إيمانكم. Don't apologize now. Don't make excuses now. You have committed kufr after you had been believers. In these ayahs, there is evidence that a person would be judged as a blasphemer after having judged as being a believer. Allah showed us in this verse that these people are being judged as non-Muslims, kuffar, by Allah. Why? Because they were belittling Allah and the verses Allah revealed and the Messenger alayhi salatu wassalam. Allah revealed, قَدْ كَفَرْتُمْ. Indeed, you've blasphemed. بَعْدَ إِيمَانِكُمْ. After you had iman, belief, the correct belief, but now you do not. Allah revealed also in Surah At-Tawbah, ayah 74, يَحْلِفُونَ بِاللَّهِ مَا قَالُوا. They say, by Allah we did not say. By Allah we did not say those words. By Allah, I swear by Allah, I did not say those words, those derogatory statements, those kufr statements. By Allah. Allah revealed though. Allah exposed them. يَحْلِفُونَ بِاللَّهِ مَا قَالُوا وَلَقَدْ قَالُوا كَلِمَةَ الْكُفْرِ وَكَفَرُوا بَعْدَ إِسْلَامِهِمْ. Allah revealed, yet indeed, surely they did say the kufr statement and hence committed kufr, blasphemed, after they had been upon al-Islam. Again, proof that a person is judged as a Kaafir, a non-Muslim, if they blaspheme. Then even after being Muslim, even if a person was right now a Muslim and then they did something that was blasphemy, they would be explicitly and specifically charged with blasphemy. Allah revealed in Surah Al-Kahf in verses 37 and 38. قال له صاحبه وهو يحاوره أكفرت بالذي خلقك من تراب ثم من نطفة ثم سواك رجلا. There is a story in the Quran about two men who were talking to each other. And one of them said to the other, as Allah revealed, one of them said to his companion, have you blasphemed against the one that created you or created your father, Adam alayhi salam, from soil? And then he created you from the sexual fluid of the male, and then assembled you such that you would become an upright male. Upright in the sense of standing up. In this verse, Allah Ta'ala revealed about this man accusing another person directly of kufr. He said to him, أَكَفَرْتَ بِالَّذِي خَلَقَكَ مِن تُرَابٍ ثُمَّ مِن نُطْفَةٍ ثُمَّ سَوَّاكَ رَجُلًا. Are you blaspheming against the one that created you? لكنه والله ربي ولا أشرك بربي أحدا. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said in a hadith narrated by the companion Abu Hurairah, إن الرجل, indeed a person, لا يتكلم بالكلمة, says a statement, لا يرى بها بأسا, he doesn't see anything wrong with this statement, يهوي بها 70 خريفا في النار, he will fall because of this statement 70 years into hell. From other hadiths we learn that a 70-year drop into hell is the bottom of hell, and that a 70-year drop into hell is a place where only the blasphemers will fall. Hence, that tells us that this statement that this person uttered, which resulted in him falling 70 years into hell, is a blasphemous statement. And there are many blasphemous statements. This hadith was narrated by Al-Imam Ahmad and At-Tirmidhi. And it is a Hasan hadith, a strong hadith. And this hadith has many other narrations. It's not just this narration. It has quite a few narrations, but we will stick with that one for now. A slightly different narration of this same hadith with a slightly different wording is what Al-Bukhari narrated. إن العبد لا يتكلم بالكلمة ما يتبين فيها يزل بها في النار أبعد مما بين المشرق أو بين المشرق والمغرب. The slave will utter a statement of which he does not know the judgment, or the judgment of which he does not know. And this will cause him to slip into hell. a distance that is far greater than the distance between the east and the west. This also refers to the blasphemous statement. The companion Rafi' ibn Khadij radiyallahu anhu said that he heard the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wasallam saying, يَكُونُ قَوْمٌ فِي أُمَّتِي, there will be a people in my nation, يَكْفُرُونَ بِاللَّهِ, they will blaspheme against Allah, وَبِالْقُرْآنِ, and against the Quran, وَهُمْ لَا يَشْعُرُونَ, and they won't even feel it. يَكْفُرُونَ بِاللَّهِ وَبِالْقُرْآنِ وَهُمْ لَا يَشْعُرُونَ, they will blaspheme against Allah and against the Quran, and they will be none the wiser. They will not feel it. Coincidentally, one of the scholars, Ibn Qutlubugha, a Hanafi scholar, he wrote a book where he compiled some of the blasphemous statements that were prevalent and rife at his time to warn against them. And he called his book Man Yakfur wa la Yash'ur, those that commit kufr and don't even feel it. They fall out of al-Islam and don't even realize. This hadith was narrated by At-Tabarani. Al-Bukhari narrated in a chapter that he named, من كفر أخاه بغير تأويل فهو كما قال, whoever accuses of kufr his brother without an interpretation, then it is as he said. And this has an explanation. Abdullah ibn Umar radiyallahu anhuma said, the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, أيما رجل, whichever person, قال لأخيه, says to his brother, says to a Muslim, يا كافر, O you kafir, فقد باء بها أحدهما, then one of them has become a kafir. In the narration of Al-Imam Muslim, the wording is أيما امرئ أيما امرئ قال لأخيه يا كافر, whichever person says to his Muslim brother, O kafir, فقد باء بها أحدهما, then one of them has fallen into kufr. إن كان كما قال, if the accuser, if it is as the accuser has charged, then the one that he has charged with kufr is a kafir. وَإِلَّا رَجَعَتْ عَلَيْهِ, otherwise, if it is not the case that the one being charged is a kafir, so this person has wrongfully, unrightfully, unjustly accused someone of kufr while knowing they are a Muslim, then that accusation, it comes back onto this person. This person becomes a kafir. All of this to show you a number of things. a person may fall out of Islam without even realizing. Secondly, we can label a person specifically to be a kafir if we see him commit kufr. Also, the matter of calling someone a kafir is not to be taken lightly. Just like that, willy-nilly. It is not as such. Because it's very, very dangerous. Making a mistake in calling someone a kafir when they are not a kafir is a grave matter. Some of the scholars said, إدخال الرجل في الملة أمر عظيم. Admitting someone into al-Islam is a huge matter. وإخراج الرجل من الملة شيء عظيم. And excommunicating or extraditing a person, casting them out of al-Islam, is a grave matter. Meaning, be careful not to make a mistake in this matter. So, we are not, the Muslims of Ahlus Sunnati wal Jama'ah are not of the extreme as to say, oh, we don't call anybody a kafir, everybody's a Muslim. And that the Jews and the Christians are our brothers and sisters, and the Hindus and all these, and the Sikhs and everybody, we're just one big happy family. No. This is an extreme that goes against what Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam taught. Now, none of what I'm saying, of course, is an encouragement to Muslims to treat ill the non-Muslims. No, the Muslims, we always encourage for the Muslims to treat the non-Muslims well, because we want good for them. We want them to embrace al-Islam. And by this, we also attain reward by calling them to al-Islam. But it's a dangerous matter to blur the lines and to act as though everybody is right or everybody is okay to pick their own path, even if they are blaspheming against Allah. This is a very, very dangerous game that some people are playing. So it's an important message that goes out to all students of knowledge, so that they understand it well. Precaution is to call someone who is apparently a Muslim. And it is precautious also to call someone who is a kafir and apparently a kafir and so on, to call them a kafir. What is dangerous is to say about a kafir that he or she is a Muslim, or to say about a Muslim that he or she is a kafir. Al-Hafiz Al-Bulqini, who died in the year 805 after the Hijrah. He was one of the top scholars in the Shafi'i school. Umar ibn Raslan, Umar, the son of Raslan al-Bulqini. He said that we do not judge as a kafir a person about whom no specific kufr saying, action, or belief has been established or witnessed from him. How are we going to call this man a kafir? When he said nothing kufr, done nothing kufr, and hasn't made apparent that he believes something kufr, how are we going to call him a kafir? We are not going to call him a kafir. And also, conversely, anybody who does bring about something, a saying that is blasphemous, then we will judge that person accordingly. Or they engage in an act, they commit an act that is blasphemous, then we will judge them as a kafir. We will judge them accordingly. And likewise, anybody who makes manifest a belief in their heart that is blasphemous, we will judge this person without a doubt as a kafir. And this is justice. This is justice. This is between being really open and apologetic. Allah revealed, وَجَعَلْنَاكُمْ أُمَّةً وَسَطًا. Allah made us the nation that takes the middle path, between two extremes. The religious rules were revealed to be followed. If it was the case that we couldn't know how a person is judged as a kafir, for example, then why would the scholars write about the fact that you can't pray the janazah prayer for a kafir? Or that the kafir person, the person who used to be a Muslim, and then they committed kufr, they committed apostasy, that their wealth is not inherited. Why would they write about these rules if it could not be known? And so on. Why would they write that the apostate, his marriage contract is not valid to anyone? How would they say that and write about that extensively if it was not possible for us to know that this specific person is a kafir? Allah revealed in the Quran, in Surah Al-Imran, Ayah 110, كنتم خير أمة أخرجت للناس تأمرون بالمعروف وتنهون عن المنكر وتؤمنون بالله. That you are, meaning the nation of Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu wassalam, the best nation that has been brought out. So better in general than the nation of Musa alayhi salam, the Muslims that he was sent to, Bani Israel. And better than the nation of Isa alayhi salam. And the reason is because we have the best prophet. So we are considered the best nation. And Allah revealed also why that is. تَأْمُرُونَ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ, because you order what is obligatory. You don't turn a blind eye. وَتَنْهَوْنَ عَنِ الْمُنْكَرِ, and you call out what is prohibited. You reprimand those who you see engaging in prohibited acts. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, Inna nas, indeed the people, إِذَا رَأَوُا الْمُنْكَرِ, if they know of something that is impermissible, that is happening, whether it's in their household, in their street, or in their area, or somewhere else, they got to know about it. فَلَمْ يُغَيِّرُوهُ, and they didn't deal with it. They didn't reprimand that person for doing it. Or it didn't reach them that somebody else has reprimanded them. So They didn't do anything about it. أوشك أن يعمهم الله بعقاب. Then a general punishment may befall them. A general punishment. Even if there were pious people living among them in that area, this punishment, or let's say this hardship, this poverty, this famine, whatever it is, it would encompass those people, but the pious people on the Day of Judgment will have nothing to fear. يُبْعَثُونَ عَلَى نَوَايَاهُمْ. These people will be, everybody will be resurrected according to their intentions, according to their status, their state. Those people who knew of an evil, something sinister, something sinful, a disobedience to Allah, if they don't put a stop to it or try to put a stop to it, أَوْشَكَ أَنْ يَعُمَّهُمُ اللَّهُ بِعِقَابٍ, then punishment is close for them. And a lot of the hardships of the world, in the Muslim world, are due to them not reprimanding people that commit sins. The scholar said Allah would afflict the people because of this, whether it's through poverty or earthquakes, famine, illness, and so on. This is the result of not prohibiting the haram matters. Nowadays, ignorance has spread far and wide. And there are statements such as the one that we are going to tackle very, very shortly that pertains to our topic for today, that have spread amongst some people who many people may recognize to be scholars because they are famous. They are known amongst people. But in actual fact, they contradict the rules revealed to Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu wassalam. So it's important that we learn these issues and we warn the people, our loved ones, against them. A part of being pious is to warn against the people of misguidance. Anybody who thinks that being pious is just sitting in one's house and knowing that there are trials and tribulations outside, the Muslims are being fooled and there is haram going on, and a person just sits in their house, not willing to go out and teach and reprimand and so on and so on. I mean vocally reprimand. Such a person will never become pious for having neglected warning against the people of misguidance. So what is upon us is to call the one who commits kufr a Kaafir. The person whom the religious law, the Islamic law, the legislation that was revealed to Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu wassalam, we must follow this religious law. And that means specifying whoever commits blasphemy as a blasphemer. Either we do that because we want to advise them, of course, to return to Al-Islam. That's why we identify them as a non-Muslim. Someone might say, okay, I identify this person as a non-Muslim now. I understand that. Okay, what's next? Well, We've identified that they are a non-Muslim, and now we need to tell them to embrace al-Islam again. Or we need to tell them to stop and convince them that what they did was wrong, and get them to say, La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah, to come back or to come to al-Islam. Or we identify them as a non-Muslim to warn against them. If they are not listening to our advice, then we identify them as a non-Muslim to warn against them. Also, what it is important to mention and to know is that we do not cast out takfir. Takfir means to charge a person with kufr. We don't cast out takfir left, right, and center to anybody and everybody. No. Rather, the one that deserves to be judged as a blasphemer because they did, said, or believed something that was kufr, then we judge this person as a kafir. Because there are things that follow on from that. Okay? And likewise, incorrectly calling someone a kafir means that one is judging that they are an enemy of Allah, or that they deserve, if they die in this state, an everlasting torture in hellfire, and that their prayer is not valid, and that none of their deeds are rewardable because they are not a Muslim. And we would be accusing such a person of kufr. We would be saying that that no one is allowed to pray the janazah for them, and that they are not allowed to be buried in the Muslim graveyards. And also that would entail that nobody inherits from them, and nobody says rahimahullah, and nobody asks for forgiveness for this person, and that this person will not be able to get married, and that the children that were born to the woman that he copulated with, these are illegitimate children because the marriage wasn't valid. So you see, accusing someone of kufr is not a light matter, but when it's in its place, it has to be done. It has to be done. The reason why this text was authored, and we'll go into more details, was because one of the scholars mentioned, and that is Abu Ali al-Daqqaq. Abu Ali al-Daqqaq said, الساكت عن الحق شيطان أخرس. He said that the one who does not speak the truth, the one who doesn't call out evil, the one who doesn't speak the truth when he's able, is a silent devil, a silent demon. He is also a devil, but he's a silent one. So we do not want to be accused of being silent devils. This statement was actually attributed by some to the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, as-sakitu anil haqq shaytanun akhras. But what is correct is that it's from the sayings of the pious predecessors, of the Salaf, those who lived in the first 300 years. Among the heinous innovations is for some people today to not judge the one that commits kufr as a kafir. Some so-called sheikhs and so-called scholars today say statements like, we say that the statement is kufr, but we do not judge as a kafir the one that uttered it. They would say, we judge the statement to be a kufr one. We judge the statement, but we do not label the one that said it as a kafir, i.e. a non-Muslim. Or a third statement that these devils and charlatans say is that we accuse of kufr in general, and we do not specify a person. We don't label specifically any person to be a kafir if it's confirmed that they did something that was kufr. So this last one also, you see, they said, we do not, or rather, we label as a kafir anybody who in general does something kufr. But specifically, so in general, but specifically that person who it is confirmed about them that they did, said or believe something kufr, we do not specifically, that person, judge them and individually judge them to be a kafir. This has no base in al-Islam. And it is the saying of some impostors who appeared very recently. It is a saying that is void of knowledge and understanding of what was revealed to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It is a claim of a claimant that entails that this claimant, he is more passionate and has a better mindset and better judgment than the Messenger of Allah alayhi salatu wasalam, who himself explicitly judged certain people as non-Muslims, as did the scholars who came immediately after him sallallahu alayhi wasallam. They all understood the matter. But nowadays there are some people in the Arab world and in the English-speaking world who are known to take this ridiculous stance. And what that does is nothing but blur the lines for the confused millennials slash, what do they call them, Gen Z, the youths, yani. May Allah protect our youths. It is there to confuse them, to blur the lines. A famous man in Yemen is accused of this, and there are many famous men in Yemen. A famous man in Yemen is accused of this. Many people, there are people in the Arab world who are accused of this. There are people in the English-speaking world who are accused of this, who you might hear saying, yeah, we say that's kufr, but we're not going to call that person a kafir. They might even say something like, this is for Allah to judge. This is a ridiculous statement. And it comes on the back of this person wanting to save face, wanting not to be accused by those whose country this person lives in as being erratic and uncivilized and non-social and not wanting to integrate and being backwards. This is what some of these people fear, وَالْعِيَاذُ بِاللَّهِ. Or some of them just do not understand. وَرُؤُوسُهُنَّ فَوَارِغُ. There's nothing up there. Their minds are empty. وَالْعِيَاذُ بِاللَّهِ تَعَالَى. So it's important to look out for this matter. Another shubha or a misconception is that some people say only Allah judges us. Judgment is reserved for Allah on the Day of Judgment. So as to break down your argument of you being able to reprimand someone, the scenario is this. You might tell somebody, brother, you shouldn't be drinking that alcohol. It's not permissible. Sister, you should wear a scarf. You should cover because Allah sees you. And this is not permissible. Then unfortunately, this person who has been affected by the West, subhanallah, will say, who are you to judge me? Or no, now you're judging me. Yes. If we were not able to judge Islamically, and we were not able to specify and identify sins occurring, what was the point, one may say, of the Prophet ﷺ being sent and teaching us what the good deeds and sins are, and teaching us for some sins, teaching us some of the punishments that, for example, would be carried out in an Islamic country. One may say, what would have been the point of the Prophet ﷺ being sent and having had all of this information revealed to him if we couldn't do anything with it? If a person drinks alcohol and then says, oh, but my intention is good, or but I'm a good person. No, that's cognitive dissonance. That doesn't make sense. That actually doesn't make sense. You're actually confused. You have a heart that is suffering from blindness. Allah eternally willed that you would have a negligent heart at this point in time. That's why you're saying what you're saying. Today, an atmosphere has developed, has been nurtured or produced, in which people try to escape accountability and responsibility. And some, they don't know any better. This is how they've been raised. They have been raised to live amongst people who have been raised in a type of lawlessness, who have not been raised in an honorable way. He, for example, has a girlfriend. She has a boyfriend. He has a boyfriend now, for example. This family eats pork. They drink alcohol. They celebrate the so-called Christmas and all of the other holidays of the non-Muslims. And then you have the non-Muslims themselves who, they do what they do, and many Muslims, they mix in with them. With this kind of upbringing, with this kind of atmosphere, the religious boundaries for these people, they're going to be blurred. And they're going to adopt this notion or this so-called utopia of, everybody's happy and we are all okay, everybody's right, everybody has a right to claim what they want to claim. A very, what's the word, a very, as though people are being tranquilized, yani a very docile existence, a very on the surface existence, where one might say, God forbid, a person was to use their mind. Yani subhanallah. So be careful of these statements when you hear them from some people about who are you to judge me, or that we are not people who can call others kafirs, even though they might do something kufr, but who am I to call them a kafir? This is a very, very dangerous statement. It's bizarre. And then also for someone to say, well, I'm not qualified to call a person a kafir. There are some things in which you have to ask, this is true, but there are some things that are very, very clear. They're very, very clear. Nowadays, there's this culture of, if someone is seen calling another person a kafir, even rightfully, they'll call him a takfiri. A takfiri meaning someone who renders another person a non-Muslim. And people will jump to labeling this person a takfiri. And then with cancel culture, they'll cancel this person out. And they think they've achieved something. Truly, yes, there are some people who have this label of being takfiri because they judge other people to be non-Muslims unrightfully. This is true. Like the Wahhabiyya, the so-called Salafiyya, they do that. They unrightfully accuse Ahlus Sunnah, us, of being non-Muslims. Subhanallah.